All right, welcome back. Now I wanted to talk about rabies. Now, I've talked about this before. I've touched on it before, and I want to come back to it. Why should we believe that rabies comes from anything else when 99% of rabies cases where people contract rabies, 99% come from dogs? Why should we believe that rabies is coming from some other animal? It don't look that way to me. And I flat out don't believe it. I don't believe what they tell us about rabies. Not for 1 second. Now I want y'all to look at this. Sort of set the stage. Listen to this.
Rabies infection is caused by the rabies virus. The virus is spread through the saliva of infected animals. Infected animals can spread the virus by biting another animal or a person. In rare cases, rabies can be spread when infected saliva gets into an open wound or the mucous membranes, such as the mouth or eyes. This could occur if an infected animal were to lick an open cut on your skin. Animals that can transmit the rabies virus. Any mammal, or an animal that suckles its young, can transmit the rabies virus. The animals most likely to transmit the rabies virus to people include pets and farm animals, such as cats, cows, dogs, ferrets, goats, horses.
Now, you see how they mix dogs in with a bunch of other animals? I believe they do that on purpose. That's a part of their lie. That's a part of their con, their attempt to cover up the true origin of rabies. This is what I personally believe.
Wild animals.
Because if that's not the case, then why do 99% of people who contract rabies get them from dogs? Why isn't it evenly distributed between other animals? Now, here in the United States, they claim that about 70% of rabies cases come from bats. I don't believe that. And we don't have that many here in the U.S. anyways. Many years go by, we don't have any cases of rabies. I believe 2021, we had the most, and that was only like 4 cases. So don't lecture me about how 70% of cases here in the States come from bat. Again, I don't believe that. The average person rarely sees bats. Give me that. The average person here in America rarely sees bats. Can't say the same about dogs. Now you see this list? Guess what? They're not done.
Horses. Wild animals, such as bats, beavers, coyotes, foxes, monkeys, raccoons, skunks, woodchucks.
Get out of here. Get out of here, nutters. Now, don't they say that when an animal has rabies, it becomes more aggressive? No matter what kind of animal it is. If it has rabies, they say that that animal is going to be extremely aggressive. So why aren't more people being randomly attacked by other animals? Why is it always dogs in the hot seat? Huh? Why are we dealing with 99% of rabies cases coming from dogs if this is somehow a universal infection? They almost suggest that the true source of rabies, that it's a small source and that it only passes it to dogs. If that's not the case, then explain why almost all rabies cases comes from dogs. And as many of you know, this is just one type of infection out of many that's exclusive to dogs. These things are filthy, nasty. They are reservoirs of disease and infection. All the more reason to avoid all of them, especially with rabies. It's 100% fatal. You don't play around with infections like that. Why? Why 99%? That is a very high percentage. Okay, now we're talking about worldwide. That's another thing. People tell me how that makes sense. They're saying that 70% of cases here in the States come from bats, but yet 99% of the world's infections come from dogs? Sounds like propaganda at play to me. Why do bats lead rabies cases here in the States? Creatures that we virtually never see. I don't believe it. When it comes to dogs, there are a bunch of lies. So get used to us questioning anything related to dogs. And when it's something like this, something that could potentially make dogs look bad, rest assured there are going to be several lies surrounding it to try to soften the blow, to try to deceive the general public. 99%, that's very high.
In rare
No. How come we not getting attacked by monkeys and skunks? I see them all the time. They'll never give me no problems. I see beavers too. We got a lot of beavers around this area. Up here in Ohio, those of you who are up in northern part of Ohio, south, east Michigan, I don't get attacked. I ain't never been attacked by no beaver. Never been attacked by nothing other than a dog. The crazy thing is, dogs don't need to have rabies to be as violent as an animal with rabies. They're just naturally that violent. I was about to make a stream where we examine, and we still probably can, where we examine the true reason why dogs attack. And we need to do this more often, have real discussions. Because these things are just bloodthirsty, extremely abnormal and bloodthirsty. And y'all got some explaining to do. I'm not buying y'all's story on rabies.
Now, at Verizon Business, every business.
Sorry about that. Now, this is from National Geographic. They wanted to give us a brief history lesson on rabies and the rabies vaccine and how the vaccine came to be. Listen to this. Excuse me. Sorry. We're going to read this. 1885. Louis, Pasteur changed history by vaccinating the first human against rabies. 1885. That's kind of late, you know. That day, little boy was rushed to Pasteur after being bitten by a rabid dog. Even though he was not a doctor and had never successfully tested his vaccine on humans, he gave the boy 13 injections containing, what was that? A weakened rabies virus. Because he was inoculated before symptoms appeared, the disease never developed and the boy survived. The past 131 years, his research not only saved countless lives, but paved the way for many other modern day immunizations. Okay, this is not what I was looking for, doggone it. Okay, I've lost the video. But I'm sorry, people. I don't care what the public narrative is about anything. When it comes to dogs, I don't trust nobody no more. I don't care where the information is coming from. We are dealing with doctors who are putting out false information, lawyers putting out false information. When it comes to dogs, they always put out false information. And I'm trying to make people understand why I question things like this. I know some people look at it, oh, IHD, you're just trying to be a rebel. You're trying to be hardcore by questioning something that most people would never question. But I don't care how you look at it. I don't care what nobody think about it. We're dealing with too many things that's exclusive to dogs. And I'm sick of so many things being exclusive to dogs and virtually unheard of in other animals being said to affect all animals equally. How come we don't see a slew of other animals sneezing backwards, infected with bot flies or mango worms? Huh? Y'all remember here recently they found a bunch of chihuahuas and they said they were all filled with parasites. Why are dogs so riddled with parasites? Why do dogs and only dogs launch completely unprovoked attacks? A lot of exclusive behavior, and we don't get any explanations. So you know what? I'm free to theorize, and this is one of them. Rabies comes from these mutants. Nothing else makes sense. That's why y'all always got to give these things rabies vaccinations, even if the dogs were born and raised here in the United States. Y'all gotta give these things rabies vaccinations, if I'm not mistaken, right, for the entire duration of their worthless lives. Why? Huh? Why? And to top this off,
as the weather starts to get warmer, we see an increase in dog bites. In 2013, we saw over 500 dog bites here at Akron Children's Hospital. In the US, there's approximately 43 million dog bites every single year, and those range from small nips all the way up to severe maulings. Children most at risk for dog bites are between the ages of 4 and 13, though we see the most significant dog bites between the ages of 5 and 9. Those are kids who haven't quite learned the boundaries of what's a nice dog.
Yeah. Haven't quite learned the boundaries. But people understand, Rabies is not the only fatal infection that exclusively comes from dogs. Capnocytophaga, sepsis. Why don't we get cases of people getting their limbs amputated because of a hamster lick? Why is it always dogs? Huh? All the more reason to avoid these things. Now back to what this lady is babbling about. I've played this before. I don't know how many of you remember, but I've actually responded to this before because it's so outrageous. You heard what she just said. Let me back it up just in case some of you missed it.
Children.
This video, Dog Bites Acorns, is from a children's hospital. Oh, people, this is sick. I don't think people understand how sick videos like this actually are. When stuff like this comes from hospitals, that's the height of immorality. Because y'all are the ones actually see these attack victims in their raw form. And y'all still have the gall to protect dogs and blame the victims. How is my question? How do you even have it in you to defend dogs? Okay, let's continue.
Most at risk for dog bites are between the ages of 4 and 13, though we see the most significant dog bites between the ages of 5 and 9. Those are kids who haven't quite learned the boundaries of
Has nothing.
what's a nice dog and what's an unfriendly dog.
Oh, stop it, ma'am. Stop it. Stop it. More lies. Are you saying that all the dogs that have attacked a youngster was one of those bad dogs? Get out of here. What is with these childish, ridiculous lies? I won't even honor what she just said. I'm not even going to honor, not even going to respond to it directly. Just shut up. Stop making crazy, insane statements. But listen to this.
Dog. Children should never approach a dog that's barking, growling, or snarling, especially if that dog is unfamiliar. If an unknown dog is approaching you, it's important to stand still and not move. If you are familiar with the dog's owner and the dog, it's still important to allow that dog.
It's still important to avoid it. Listen to these are nothing but lies. And there's so many lies, most people, you don't catch them. I mean, she is bombarding the public with lies right now.
It's still important to allow that dog a moment to get to know you. Extend
It's
a
not going to get to know you.
closed hand out to the dog to allow them to sniff and become friendly.
They're not going to get friendly. They are not friendly. They're operating on their obsession with food. If they're sniffing your hand, they're checking to see if food is in it. And why would you give this advice to children? What I'm showing y'all here is that even when honesty is most required, is in highest demand, these people have no problem lying. Child safety, when it comes to dog attacks, is the most serious of any subject you can deal with when it comes to dogs. When you deal with this subject, this is the one time where there are to be no lies, no exaggerations. I don't want to hear nothing but facts. And even when dealing with this, they have no problem. It's structured on lies. They have proudly based all of this on lies.
Children should never approach a dog that's barking, growling, or snarling, especially if that dog is unfamiliar. If an unknown
That never happens anyway. Youngsters don't approach barking, snarling dogs. She's just babbling, filling in space.
dog is approaching you, it's important to stand still and not move. If you are
Don't insult us. Don't disrespect us by telling us to teach kids to stand still when dogs are approaching them. Like, I don't understand the state of mind you have to be in to say something like that. You're giving advice to children. You're telling them to stay still when a dog is charging at them. Adults can't even do that. So again, people, they're not being sincere. They're not being honest. Just nothing but straight up deception, lies.
are familiar with the dog's owner and the dog, it's still important to allow that dog a moment to get to know you. Extend a closed hand out to the dog to allow them to sniff and become friendly before petting the dog. It's also important never to pet the top of the dog's head first. Start with its back.
Okay. You expect children to follow all of this? Really?
Ask the owner if it's okay to pet its head or ears or tail.
Huh? Pet the dog's ears or tail? Is that what she just said?
First, start with its back. Ask the owner if it's okay to pet its head or ears or tail.
Head? Ears? You just said don't pet them on top of the head. Who? I've never even heard of pet a dog on its ear, huh? Pet a dog on its tail, huh? This is coming from a children's hospital. So this is in your face. Nothing but a con. The one video that should be serious is nothing but a well put together con. So why wouldn't you lie about rabies? I would expect dog culture to pack the lies in thick when it comes to rabies. In fact, the more serious the infection, the more likely they are to lie about where it's coming from. You better believe that. How many lies do we have to deal with? I mean, you can spend a whole live stream just unpacking lies. And dishonesty, lies, is a big part of dog culture. It infects the owners, and the lies run rampant through dog lovers, just like they do these people, the doctors, nurses, so-called professionals, etc. Some of you may have heard about an update. I think this update surfaced a few hours ago, not even 24 hours ago. We have another update of the Kingsley Wright case. This is a case that I've produced, I think, 2 to 3 videos so far. And we just had another update. Now, I want y'all to listen to this. Man, this is so crazy.
A father is facing charges related to the death of his daughter. So police say that she was killed by 2 dogs. Jessica Schmidt has an update on this case from the alert desk.
A Hamilton County grand jury indicted Warren Houston for involuntary manslaughter, endangering children, and reckless homicide. Those charges are related to the death of this little girl, his daughter, 3-year-old Kingsley Wright. Cincinnati police say Wright was mauled to death by 2 dogs inside of a Roselawn home back in December. Records show Houston called 911 and said he woke up and found his daughter dead but didn't know what happened. He told dispatchers the little girl had been asleep in the living room and said that the dogs were in their cage.
Stop. Stop right there. Now, this is a perfect example of what I just explained, of how lies is an intricate part of dog culture. Now, had I been the sheriff or whatever, I would have arrested the father that same night. As soon as he shared his side of the story with me, I would have had him put in cuffs. Did you hear what he said? Let me back it up just in case some of you missed it.
Said he woke up and found his daughter dead but didn't know what happened. He told
Woke up and found her dead but didn't know what happened? You didn't hear nothing?
dispatchers the little girl had been asleep in the living room and said that the dogs were in their cage.
Okay, really? That's impossible. He said he woke up, found his daughter mauled to death, and found the dogs inside of their cages. That's impossible. What are you saying? That the dogs got out of their cages, mauled her, and then went back into their own cages? This is why I would have had him arrested that night. Why didn't they have him arrested that night with a story like that? You didn't hear nothing. She was asleep on the couch. You heard nothing. You just happened to wake up, huh? The sound of her being mauled didn't wake you up. You just happened to wake up and found her mauled. And you saw the dogs inside of their cages. That's not even possible, people. An obvious lie. That's like the worst story I've ever heard. And you mean to tell me he's just now getting charged over 2 months later? That's what I'm talking about. It's a culture of lies. No matter how bad the lie is, there's a good chance it's going to work in your favor. Look at how horrible this lie was. But yet, look at how long it maintained. This guy got to enjoy freedom for a solid 2 months based on a flimsy, ridiculous story like that.
A spokesperson for Cincinnati Animal Care says they removed 3 dogs from the house that day. Wright's mother, Gina Smith, told our partners at the Inquirer that Wright was sassy and smart and loved to sing and dance.
Now, I don't know why they would say that. Said the girl was sassy. Okay. But you get the point. I can't trust anything in dog culture. We are free. Because look, man, we're the experts. We're the ones who keep up with dog culture. If anybody's qualified to say that the current statistics are false, it's us. And how much evidence do you need? The statistic of 4.5, 4.7 dog bites per year, that is laughable. Laughable. And it's really not cool how they haven't updated these statistics. I don't think it's that difficult to get the real statistics. It's not that difficult. They just don't want to reveal it because they know it's well over 10 million. Well over 10 million at this point. We can't trust them at all. Some of you also may have seen recently a video was uploaded by, I think, a Detroit police officer. Let's see if I can find this. A Detroit police officer recently uploaded a video trying to give people advice on what to do if you are confronted with a dog. Now, if they're going to be honest, surely it'll be with a life or death situation like this. But no.
Detroit Urban Survival Training. Here's some ways you can survive and encounter with a dog that you don't know, that you don't trust.
Look at this joker. You believe this? Listen to this.
One, if you have pepper spray, you can use it to spray them in the eyes and face. If that doesn't work, you want to back away.
Yeah, how many of y'all gonna try that?
And you want to remain calm. You want to keep your hands in.
Huh? Listen to this guy.
Encounter with a dog that you don't know, that you don't trust. One, if you have pepper spray, you can use it to spray them in the eyes and face. If that doesn't work, you want to back away and you want to remain calm.
Gonna back away and remain calm. Don't y'all think that's an unreasonable thing to demand from people? Remain calm. Be still. Don't look at it. Walk sideways.
You want to keep your hands in. So if they're looking at you, coming at you, you want to make sure that you stay calm and try to move away from them. Don't make eye contact. Look away.
Yeah. Look at the sky. Walk away. Walk while looking away. Okay? No, sir. Check the laws in your state. I'm quite sure in your state you are allowed to use a firearm. Okay? And a dog runs up on you, use your firearm and protect yourself. I just listened to another update. How many of y'all keeping up with that case with the elderly lady and her son? It was a fatality where they got their elderly female neighbor killed. They said that this dog was so bloodthirsty, it continued to attack the victim even while it had several rounds of bullets in its body. They had shot this dog multiple times, and this dog continued to run over to the lady who was already unconscious and most likely dead. It continued to run over there and maul that lady. So we're dealing with creatures where even a firearm is going to be up against it, trying to neutralize this threat. And they still can't be honest with us. When it comes to dogs, people, they are not going to be, they're going to try to deceive us. Reverse whatever suggestion they give. Okay? And it's almost like you can't trust anything in dog culture. Everything is a lie. So why wouldn't this be a lie? The origin of rabies. Rabies seems almost like exclusively a dog thing. And they're associated. Rabies is associated with dogs more than it's associated with any other animals. Really, the only time we hear about other animals is in books or videos like this.
Woodchucks. In rare cases, the virus has been transmitted to tissue and organ transplant recipients from an infected organ. Symptoms.
Okay, no.
Rabies.
Okay, so y'all let me know what you think. Because it's not just rabies. That capnocyte, where does that come from? That's another deadly infection. And we can't minimize that. That should be looked at just as deadly as rabies. Definitely just as scary. It called sepsis. We've seen those people. with their arms and legs rotted? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Like, wouldn't y'all say that that's just as dangerous as contracting rabies? Contracting this stuff? Look at this. Yeah, your organs shut down. How sick is that? A lick from a dog can cause your organs to shut down. Can cause you to end up like this. Oh, yeah. Oh.
The best things never change.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to remind y'all about this. Oh, yes. Now, think of how crazy it is to teach kids to pet these things when they see them. Up in these schools, they teaching kids that when they see dogs, to get permission to go up to pet them. How insane is that?
Full tropical vacation, and as you open the front door, you are attacked by a dog with tiny frantic licks of affection. You've been gone for what must seem like forever to the young German Shepherd, but what neither of you realize is that within hours, you will have to leave again. This time to the hospital, where you will fight for your life as your limbs slowly turn black.
This ain't rabies. Now, why should I believe that this originates somewhere else? Huh? Does this come from bats too?
All because of one wrong move from your puppy. Marie Traynor had only recently returned home from a vacation to Punta Cana when, on Friday, May 10th, 2019, she began feeling unwell with a backache and nausea. We just thought it was the flu, so I treated it like the flu. But by 2 or 3 in the morning the following day, after her temperature spiked and then dropped, she and her husband made the decision to visit the local Alliance Community Hospital emergency room. But later that same day, as her symptoms worsened, she was sent to Altman Hospital's medical intensive care unit. She was complaining of agonizing pain in her hands and legs, and by Sunday, May 12th, became unable to breathe on her own, so doctors decided to put her on life support.
Listen to that. You know, they always giving us horror stories about rabies, as if this isn't just as bad. Right? You get rabies, you can't drink water, and you feel real bad. Well, listen to this.
And a medically induced coma. Marie's stepdaughter, Gina Premier, who's a nurse at the same hospital Marie had become a patient in, said, "We didn't know exactly what it was, but we knew it was an infection of some sort. Medical staff were unable to pinpoint the cause of the infection plaguing Marie's body, and the following day, they informed her family that, whatever it was, it had attacked the small blood vessels in each of her limbs. Gangrene was setting in."
How crazy is that? From dog saliva.
And blood clots were cutting off blood flow to Marie's arms and legs, causing the skin and flesh to die. Marie's family couldn't believe
dog saliva is doing this.
What they were hearing. That was a pretty hard pill for us to all swallow. To say she was fine a couple days ago on vacation, and now she's actively getting worse by the minute, and now her hands and feet aren't alive? Like, this doesn't happen. It's 2019, said Gina. After accepting that there were no other options, doctors took Marie into surgery in order to save her life. Unfortunately, due to the amount of muscle damage from the infection, there was no hope in saving her legs. But after amputating them, doctors worked tirelessly to remove blood clots in her arms in an effort to save what they could. By the 7th hour, I had probably taken out over 40 or 50 clots, said her orthopedic surgeon, Dr. A.J. Seth. And on
that is insane. Now, I don't know what it is about, like, knowledge and information. It seems like people take things less serious the more they know about them. I believe if we knew less about these infections, we'd be more cautious. We'd be more serious about avoiding them. Because really all we know is that dog saliva will end you up like this. It'll have you with rabies. It'll have you all messed up. Have your limbs turning black and your organs shutting down. Where does it originate? Why should we believe that there's some other mystery origin somewhere? Why should we blame bats and raccoons and other animals when it's always these mutants that we catch all these infections from? Okay, so when you look at dogs, I want to color your perception, and I want you to feel like throwing up just at the very sight of these things. The last thing that you want to do is get near them, touch them. Don't ever touch these things. And understand that these infections can be spread just by touching them, just by being around them. Stupid, nasty things always got their mouths hanging wide open, always got saliva splashing everywhere. Many of these infections go airborne. They're in that nasty much saliva, and again, it's constantly breathing with his mouth open. Don't even go around these things. And don't believe anything that people tell you about these things. And this is something I never believed, that rabies come from somewhere else, that it come from some other animal. So if it does come from some other animal, it sounds like those other animals rush to spread it to dogs. And then after they've passed it to dogs, they themselves don't have it no more, because there's only dogs with them. So no, dog lovers, y'all can save that too. Dogs are the origin of a whole lot of things. And from this seat, they're the origin of rabies. All the more reason they need to be rounded up. Come on, Trump. I mean, you might as well. While we're rounding things up, round up these mutants. Take them to the euthanasia chamber. Close and lock the door. Okay? If you need help, just ask for volunteers. I'm gonna put both hands up and both feet. Okay? I mean, seriously, I don't like how they deceive us. I mean, that's deception through the roof. And it's not just rabies. What else are y'all lying to us about? It's time for them to come clean with dogs, man. Stop with the deception. Stop with the laws that give them these insane privileges to attack us and maul us. Okay? We are going to have a confrontation sooner than later about these worthless inbred mutants. Shout out to all of you able to join me for this late night live stream. And I hope you can join me on the next as we continue with this crusade.